Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here on So Stitch X. I'm Miss Izzy, and today we're going to be talking about blood magic. So, TW, there are going to be knives and just discussion of blood. All right, if you don't like it, bye. Love you. Bye. So, I want to start with my device for blood magic. It is my likes to run away on me, Bolin. It says love with the clip. I never use the clip. I usually keep it in its box. It's by the X bag. It runs away all the time. So I usually keep it in the box, in a bag, in another bag, in a spot where I can find it. And it usually still finds a way to just escape. It likes to go where it wants. But I use it because I use it with love. Everything I do is with love. And it's a very pretty knife. As you can see, it's got hearts and the rhinestone and the little holes are hearts. And it's shiny and sparkly. But it's what I use. You can use anything as long as you sanitize it. You need a sanitized tool. You can use like a needle or a lancet for checking your blood, like if you're diabetic. And you just need a little. Blood magic doesn't take a lot of blood. Like you might be picturing cut across the palm and just bleed out, squeeze it in. That's so unnecessary. Like, bruh, you can use just like one, maybe 2 drops if you want. Like, you don't need a lot. 1 drop is plenty. I usually have to massage it out of my finger because it doesn't want to come out. And then smear it on. I've only done blood magic officially 1 time. Now, I've pricked my finger when trying to get, like, roses off of the rose bush. And I've given the blood freely, since it's already fucking taken it, to the bush as a thank you, fairies, for letting me have this fucking plant. Here's some blood in return. Cool. But it doesn't have to be some big thing. You can even substitute saliva. And if you're anemic, you really shouldn't do blood magic. When you do it, you should always use antiseptic before and after. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. Like, it can just be a tiny little prick. One of my friends told me that when they do blood magic, they will find like a cuticle or like a piece of like skin right at their like nail bed, and just pull it out. And they'll also use the piece of skin that they pulled out as a sacrifice of flesh. So they have the blood and then they have flesh. That is one way to do it. I have gingivitis and so my gums bleed. And so I can just kind of pick at my gums for like 2.5 seconds. Like, I don't even have to try. And then I can just spit. And like, there's that. However, I do have this for when I want like a superficial ritual and just do one like little pop and then go at it. Why is blood magic so significant? Is because it is such a powerful connection between you and the magic. It can be a good way to connect your target if you can have their blood. And I have been given blood freely. Being given blood from someone is more powerful and more potent for a spell if it's given freely. The same with hair or other personal effects, personal concerns. Like, there are certain spells where if you have virgin blood given freely, it is more potent and the spell will be more productive than anything else. I know of a story where our friends did a finding spell for some objects, and they used Christian man's blood given freely, and it had never been used for magic before. And things to this day they assume are still popping up in that house that have gone missing, because they used to just, everything would show up in a minute. Everything. And they're assuming that the people who live there are so confused why random stuff just pops up in their apartment. There's no, like, way to know if it just pops up, but it might. I have only used blood magic once, but typically you see people talk about it as if it's used always for bane, for negative, for dark. You can use your blood to make it more powerful, because it's a more powerful connection to you. Some people refuse to use it because they consider it soul magic. You're not giving just a piece of your life's energy, your life blood. You're giving a piece of your soul. And I don't necessarily view it in that way. I respect those that do. But I see blood magic as a way to be more powerful, because I'm tying my life to the spell. And it bugs me when people think it's always a curse or it's always negative. Like, I've only done it once, and it was a healing spell. So I'm going to walk you through the spell that I did and tell you how you can incorporate blood magic into your craft. So when you want to imbue something with more power, more energy, you just need something of a true sacrifice. I was offering 3 drops of blood because when I do magic, I typically invite a deity in to sit in on the magic. They can sit in on the spell and just kind of be present. They don't have to participate. They can offer their energy if they're willing, but they're not, I'm not entitled to their participation, and I'm not asking for their participation. I'm just leave it open. And I invited the spirit I was working with, a spirit that I appreciate their work, and a spirit that I have a complicated relationship with, but that is the main deity of worship for an individual. This individual, and I did this spell about when the COVID outbreak really hit the U.S., has a they have an illness, and it's a kind of, well, it's lupus, and they have a whole bunch of other little stuff going on, and I know they have other shit going on. They have a lot going on, but like, they're in the high risk category. And even though I was not talking to them, I'm like, this person is not even my friend anymore. I didn't want them to get the virus because I know that they put themselves in high-risk situations. They go to the fucking gym, which I canceled my membership because I've been there multiple times. There's multiple people who weren't wearing masks, and they also aren't wiping down their stations when they walk away. So, like, I don't trust it. I don't know why she's still going. But I know she's also probably working, and she works at a university. So, like, I'm like, this person is heavily exposed, and they're probably gonna, like, get sick and die at this rate. So, like, I want to do something. And it being at the beginning of the pandemic, I didn't want to wait. So I asked the spirit I work with the most, the deity that I admire and invite to my work often, and the deity that I have a complicated relationship, but I have worked, like, I technically worked with for fucking 20 years before I decided I'm not dealing with this shit. I invited them all, and I used a 3-wick candle because I didn't want to write, like, individual candles. I told them because I wanted them to work together. They were going to share a candle, and the one did not at all want to cooperate. He did not want to be lit, and I'm like, Papa, like, come on now. This is serious. Like, if it wasn't serious, I wouldn't have you included with these 2. And then it lit, so I was like, okay, good. His is also the hardest blood drop to get out. All I wrote was, make them better, make them safe, on a piece of paper. And I think I had another, on the back I had something similar. And I think that was the main part. And then I pricked my finger and massaged out 1 drop for mine, 1 drop for the invited, and 1 drop for theirs that used to be mine, as a drop of blood. Because my idea was, yes, they have this, like, illness that makes their life hard. I don't. So my thought was, my blood for your blood, bad blood for good blood, pure blood for tainted. Not that their blood is bad, but it is bad for this situation. And I'm like, let them have half of what health that I can to protect them for this. Because, like, I never get sick. Like, fucking never get sick. If I get sick, it's really rare. I usually only get sick after I said I never get sick. That's the only time I ever get sick. I have a pretty good immune system. Fucking lucky me. When you have an autoimmune disorder, you can't do that. You're gonna be fucking sick all the fucking time. Like, it's bad. It's just so bad. So I'm just like, I wrote it, and that was the only spell that I did for it. I prayed that this would be enough to keep them from getting the virus, and I burned it and scattered the ashes, as one does. And so the paper with my blood, a sacrifice to the deities I invited, the spirits that I worked with, and my wishes that they could have enough of my health that they wouldn't get sick if exposed, if in danger. And that's how I've used my blood magic, was that I offer the life energy I have as a protection in place of them. And in response, people thought I did a curse on someone. They're like, there she is, cursing people again. She's doing it again. I'm like, bruh, you're not invited to my magic, so, like, fuck you. But essentially, it's a way to offer more of yourself to protect someone else. It's a way to offer more of yourself into a spell to make it more potent. If you put a drop of your blood into a love potion to tie yourself to it, to give it more energy, to give it your all, you can make it so that make this powerful. You can use it to, like, with blood, you don't even have to use, like, the blood, like the fresh blood, like this. You can do it in a variety of ways. One of the ways I've heard someone do is if they get a cut, they'll put it on brown paper bag, as is a popular thing, or you can do tissue. I think tissue is fine. Brown paper is more popular. But then you can burn it. And the ash is then blood ash, which you can use into a spell. I don't typically use ash in this aspect, but there's a popular way to do it. There's another way to do spirit ash, to make a spirit of your target by burning a name paper of them, and when you burn it, that is now the spirit ash of your target. So it's the same concept with your blood, using blood ash in the place of a spell. The upkeep is hard because, yes, you can store it in vials, put it in the freezer, although fresh blood is a lot easier. It is about the intent that you put into your blood. It is about the intent, but you need to just think, is it worth it to store it? Because you just keep making it unless you're dead, but you're not doing magic when you're dead unless you're doing it in the afterlife. So, like, blood might not be that important at that point. If you are someone who has a menstrual cycle, you can always use that blood. That is also popular. I wouldn't do that because that sounds like a fucking mess. I don't know if you've ever had to take a drug test. I do for any job that I have to apply for. It's fucking stupid. I think drug tests are demeaning, but I always piss all over the fucking cup, and blood is not going to be any fucking different. And I'm not one who wants to just make a big ass mess. So, like, a little drop, not a big deal. Storing it, not really worth it. I'd rather just and go on about my day. Or, here you go. It's all about your intent, and it's not really a hard topic. If you're not for blood, or you don't want to do a blood sacrifice, because some people are like, oh no, blood sacrifice, that means they're going to be hungry and coming for you. No. Like, some spirits just enjoy some blood. I mean, technically, the Bible had him like, sacrifice your child. JK, you can use a lamb, it's okay. JK. But, like, that's still blood. That's fucking blood, bro. You have all kinds of deities throughout history who have requested blood, and demons who may request blood and prefer it. You can make the petition, if your deity is big on blood sacrifice, that you don't want to do that. Just be like, bruh, this is like, I draw the line here. I want this relationship to work, but, like, no. And then from there, see what they say. Maybe they're like, okay, well then here's something else. But it still has to be a sacrifice. Like, you still need to do something. I typically just use my hair. That's why my hair goes into so many spells, because I'm tying a piece of myself to my spells. Usually it's something related to me, because I don't do a lot of spells for other people. And when I do, it's tied to something that's happened to me. So it's like, whatever. But blood is a very good way to amp up your spells. Of course, being careful, keeping things properly sanitized, understanding that storage is not the best option. You don't even have to do ash. If you don't want to do blood ash, or you don't want to do fresh blood, you can do blood flakes. Like, put a little bit of blood onto some foil or some plastic wrap or a plastic styrofoam plate. Let it dry, however long that takes. And then you got blood flakes. It works. It's the whole, like, law of correspondence, and it's like all the same different thing. Like, it's the same thing, just different ways it's done. So, like, blood magic is pretty simple. And it doesn't have to be scary, and it doesn't have to be evil. Because if you think using blood for a healing and protection spell is evil, like, you didn't listen. You can use it for evil. Like, you can use it for curse work. You can use someone else's blood to, like, make them do whatever. But that's, that's your prerogative. I really don't give a shit. What I'm telling you is that it doesn't have to be scary. And it doesn't have to be something that you're afraid of. You would have to worry about people considering it self-harm anytime you're doing something with bloodletting or, like giving blood or taking blood. It can be a topic of conversation. And like I said, don't do it in the same spot. Doing it in the same spot creates scars. And I wouldn't do it very often. Like, I think this is something I might do once, like, a year or two, or every 3 years or something. Like, not very often, because I don't really have big spells that I need for that. I mean, how often does a pandemic happen? But it is a valid resource that you always carry with you. And it is something that you can look into doing. If you use blood magic, what do you use it for? How do you acquire your own blood or someone else's blood? Has it been freely given? Are you a blood virgin? Or have you done blood magic before? That was me. Let me know in the comments below. And let me know how you prefer to use. Do you put it in a little bit of a lot of stuff? Or is it only for special occasions? Is it for bane or for helpful? All right. Have a wicked evening, and I hope to see you next time here on So Stitch X. Bye.